Wake the farm up. Wake the farm up.
Welcome, Wake the Farm Up, Maintaining Ground podcast. Here we go. We're going to start out this show with a quick cut from Ruth Stout.
If I told you that the way I garden is very little work, you wouldn't know what I mean because you don't know what I call very little work. You might think that I meant I only work 6 hours a day instead of 12. So I'm going to tell you exactly how I garden. The reason is that I never plow or spade or cultivate or weed or hoe or use a fertilizer or use a poison spray or use a compost pile or water. I just plant and pick. The reason that I can do all this is because I keep my ground covered all year long on hay mulch, which rots, fertilizes the ground, keeps down the weeds, keeps the ground soft, and that's all there is to it. The hay around the garden is for two things. The main thing is to fertilize your soil, but the other thing that the hay does is keep your ground moist. In all of the over 35 years that I have planted this way, I have never had to water once. See, most people would cut those potatoes up with just one sprout in each piece of potato, but you don't have to. And I don't do anything I don't want to do unless I have to, and I don't have to. So there we are. I would go down there to garden, and the minute I got down there, I would take off all my clothes and garden naked. I've always loved the air on my body, and I never said a word to Fred about it one way or the other. It never occurred to me to mention it to him.
Here.
Recording in progress.
Whoa, did you hear that?
Yep.
Okay. Where does it show that? Okay.
On the top left corner should say.
Yep, recording. Cool. Yeah, welcome to the show. We'll be talking about the cakes and gains, the aches and pains. And with classic tradition, we're going to start out with a song here, so check it out, y'all.
Wake it up now, wake. The fuck, we must wake up. Check it out, we're gonna be connecting in here now. One. Our host, Ande, cutting up with Cuyo, Guaribo, Kastle. Come on.
Yeah, what's good, people? It's Chris Kastle, Cuyo, Guaribo. You know, that's my Taino name. You know, it's been a long time coming for me to not only learn my language but learn who I am. You know, so it's awesome.
Wow,
Thank you for having me.
So grateful to have you and connect with you, and you know, I want to, you know, keep the audio and, you know, up to date. You know, they've seen some of your poetics and some of the last several episodes streaming in. You and I have been having some wonderful conversations. I'm really excited to be sharing this live recording that we're creating right now in real time together and building together in 2024. I, you know, Wake the Farm Up, all the edit elves that are like living in this little jungle here. they're all excited right now to be, working with you to make some audio episodes in the future. And, that's about, we like to keep the creativity open and the flow of things, so that's what we're going to say. I know there's fun things to come. And, I'm excited about the next little bit here, sharing and keep it, catching up with you, but, introducing you to the audience and sharing who I am, with you more is like the conversational flow, there's no like interview time. It's like, hey,
exactly.
let's like here, we're waking the farm up. So our audience, first came across your voice in the Halloween First Voices episode. So wanted to, I was really touched by that whole experience that day and being able to participate and sharing that and being a part of it in that way has been something that's definitely nourished me and my host as the elf here on the earth and connecting and building. Yeah.
Absolutely. No, Halloween was something that my organization that I'm a part of. So just a little bit about me. I'm a part of the American Indian movement. With the American Indian movement, we are on the FBI list from a long time ago, from a lot of things and deemed as terrorists, but we do nothing but good work. We do nothing but help the indigenous people in Florida, outside of Florida. Not only the indigenous people, but just human rights in general. Just to be a natural being on this planet has been very difficult, very troublesome, especially lately. As we see the indigenous people in Palestine going through and suffering in Gaza. So, we recognize that suffering in every natural being. And when I say natural being, I'm speaking on all human beings, not only human beings, but we have plants that are natural beings. We have animals that we're connected to. So we're all one. So that's what the American Indian movement fights for and advocates for. As well as I'm Taino, Taino is a new thing as far as when it comes to the indigenous community, but the movement has been going on since the 70s. The resurgence to re-identify, to understand the culture that was taken from us. And as a Taino, if you don't know, the Tainos are the indigenous people from the Caribbean islands. So Puerto Rico, yes, but not only Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, Jamaica, Cuba, the St. Thomas, the Virgin Islands. I mean, the indigenous people, the Indians that Christopher Columbus came across and came to were the Taino Indians. And that's something that I'm proud of, but I'm also, understand the suffering behind it, because a lot of my culture and a lot of my tradition was taken away from me and taken away from my community, and we're bringing that back. Which my tribe is UCTP, United Confederation of Taino People, which is mainly our headquarters is up in New York. So that's just a little quick rundown of who I am and kind of what I'm about.
Yeah, well, the elf here is all about the support, the connection of our human part of the ecosystem. I question, we need a passport to walk this earth. I'm made of this earth. Like, do I need a number, a code to exist? Not really, and trying to decolonialize my mind, coming, from some past history of a people who have, been colonializing. Mm-hmm. And it's something I have to wrestle with a lot inside of me. Like, how do I move forward with that? And in this present moment, I have so much empathy and feel for the struggles of people in the world. I find, my birth last name, Shavy, is an old German name that the landlords used as a derogatory term for an unimportant person.
Oh, wow.
That's interesting to come across.
That is.
It's like the sheave of a plant or something like that, like that's cast off when you just want the kernel.
Okay.
So I found that interesting to move with, and just like it's quite humbling in some ways. It's like to know that throughout all this like dark history of the ancestry of mine, there has always been people who are pacifists, who are trying to fight for human justice and humanity, because you take apart this whole broken society stuff and it goes back to humanity, like when we would make baskets and music and share poetry and our feels of our hearts together as a community. And that's something that's been taken away from all of us a long time. And to hear voices that are connecting into their ancestry, which has been known in some way to have been close to that earth in that way, has my ears like perked up. The elves are like supportive of that so much, and I'm so excited to be here connecting with you and growing and learning, and how to best be in the relation I can with everyone in these days of age, and grow and offer the energies and services and privileges and gifts that I can to the greater ecosystem, not just even a human-centered system, as you're speaking of, like this system that is connecting more harmony for the abundance and growth of purposeful, meaningful lives with dignity and hope for their families and futures. And
exactly, and that's what it is. It's all about decolonializing your mind. Not only you're decolonizing your mind, but also your actions. Like I don't really celebrate any holidays. Christmas, I give my kids the gift, but that's more of winter solstice. Understanding that there's death and there's ending to things that need to end and need to die in order for it to be reborn again and to prosper. And that way, as like you said, it's a new year, but the new year really doesn't start until the spring starts, right? Now you have everything when it comes to natural beings kind of dying, right? You have plants that are dying, you have animals that are going to hibernation, you have human beings, or you have these natural, these human beings that are not so as far as dying, but there's aspects of their life that are dying, and that death and to have your cake and eat it too. I think we do a lot of that and not understand that we need to kind of focus on ourselves, and outside of ourselves will fall in place, So that's pretty much, it's I understand when you're talking about when it comes to your elves and the spirit guides and things that kind of fall into place, because this life that we live in is this world that they created for us, right? The system that they created for us we need to break out of it. And breaking out of that is having these conversations, and spreading these messages that we have.
Yeah, I love that. And I know there's a way that in Wakethefarmup we like to make it cool, make it fun. But yeah, there's something about like getting to that beyond place where it's beyond yourself and your own, like, being entertained by the ecosystem around you, but your active engagement with it, getting woken and reconnected in this age where there's such a disconnect for many of us between our natural flow, I know for me, one thing that's been helping, like, to get that feeling of being in the flow, I'll go and just look at moss or some lichen, just like look at it closely, just kind of like look at it for a bit until it kind of gets my brain neurons into that natural flow of patterns, and then I kind of zoom out and then I have that sensation. Maybe it's a chemical rush in my body, I'm not exactly sure, but I feel like, yeah, I'm in the flow. That's your meditation. And then it's like the momentum comes, and yeah, I can go and conquer different blocks that are stopping me from doing other things. And it's seeing this like mental, for me, this mental health place even of an ecosystem within us, and seeing how it manifests outside around us.
Yeah, I love that about you, as to understand, like, when you put that perspective of us having us being our own ecosystem. You know, it makes me think of what we put into our bodies. And when I say when we put into our bodies, it's not only what we eat, but it's also what we see and what we hear. You know, those things are very, very important, because your body doesn't know the difference, right? Your mind doesn't know. What you're doing is meditating. You know, everybody has their form. You know, you're going to look at moss. You know, I go to the river. Yeah, I go to the river and I meditate in front of the river, to absorb that energy from the water, because it's that flow, exactly, and that sacredness. You know, that moss is sacred. That water is sacred. Those plants behind you are sacred. You are sacred. I'm sacred. And that's what's important. Yes. Yeah. Exactly. And that's, you know, with, you know, this episode, I know it's about cake and gains, and it just has me thinking of the gains that we have in life, right? I work out, you know, we get gains, that's cool. Yeah. You know, I always aim for gains, but gains in the aspect of, for my community, for myself, for my family, those gains, you know, the advocacy and the that I do, and the activism work that I do, it's for the community, but I get relief from it. I get a sense of living from it, and that's what I strive for, and that's, you know, that's what we strive for, you know, because I see that in you, you know, and that's why when we linked, when we linked up at Hulu, I even just hearing the name Wakethefarmup, you know, it's wake the fuck up, come on, you know, and it's like, we need to, as natural beings, as a community, because I do believe that we were a global community at one point, right? You know, you speak of your German heritage, but you were indigenous as well, you know, in some part of Europe. You were also indigenous. Yeah.
You know, I even feel like shame almost even that I use the word Germanic, if, you know, if I did in reference, you know, was that word comes from the Roman conqueror Germanicus, who is killing my indigenous people and stripping the culture away. And, you know, if you think about it almost in modern terms, it would be almost as if they called the Sioux custards. And, you know, 2,000 years went by, people just get used to it, you know, from all the other things that they went through, just in their way the neurons got set up by the society of elites and hierarchies of things, and wow.
Yeah, it's like, you know, for instance, a lot of this within the Taino community, there's a lot of back and forth, and in every community there's a lot of back and forth. But you know, I'm speaking on the Taino community. You know, there's a lot of, but it was this way, and no, but it was that way, and no, we need to speak this way, and we lost, right? We like you said, we were, so things got intertwined, mixed up into the whole Western world.
Right.
But
the assimilation,
it kind of stripped away that knowledge, that culture. But
so something just to catch audience up here. So part of this new resurgence of the Taino people, Taino, is from DNA testing and people testing and finding they're of Taino.
Yeah, correct. And not only from DNA testing, we've had communities that knew, we've had families that were brought up with their culture and their heritage, because when the Spaniards came, people don't know that the indigenous people of those islands fought for 100 years after. They were still fighting. They were still clawing for what was theirs. And not only that, but, the Spaniards unfortunately took women. And I mean, we're talking about 10, 11, 12-year-old girls as their brides. It's crazy, but through those women is how we continue to live, from the Tainos coming together with the African slaves. That's really where I get my indigenous heritage from, is from my African heritage. My great grandfather is exactly. My great grandfather is Sambo Moreno. So if you look up what Sambo Moreno is a half African, half indigenous person, and my great grandfather was just that. So I'm a product of a Sambo, right? Because my grandmother was passed on to my grandmother, and then so on and so forth. And through that, there's that understanding of who I am, what I am, and what we are, but understanding that we still are here. We're still living. We're still breathing. I grew up. I grew up in New York City, right? Born and raised from the Bronx. We out here, BX. And when I was with my friends, my black friends, I was white. When I was with my white friends, the very few I had in New York, but I moved to Michigan. And when I was with my white friends in Michigan, they were like, "Oh, you're black." So I never kind of knew what the hell I am. I'm just sitting there like, I'm just a person. I'm just a being, I'm just trying to give out. And through me going through the Bible and my spiritual path and my spiritual walk that I've been on for since 2016, 2015. Through this spiritual walk and spiritual journey, I learned about myself, and I started to dig in, and I started claiming Taino before I even had confirmation, because it was that feeling.
You felt,
I felt that, exactly. I felt it within myself, within my bones. Like I still say, I'm indigenous, but I'm also African, and then I'm the other, European Spaniard side, because my great grandmother was Spanish on my mom's side. So it's that understanding that, yes, I'm these three different races, right? But I understand that my African and indigenous side is way more important and way more, how can I say? It's not only that it's important, but it's so like that my kids understand who they are, and I can pass down that knowledge. my
that,
father.
That story, that part of the story, that voice in you is like really wanting to come out right now and share. And oh man, I love that.
Yeah. It's. I've always been like this, and it took a long time for me to understand why I'm like this. You know, my friends. I will always speak of this utopia, right? You know, why do you want everybody to get along? Why do you want things to be good? And for us, that's never gonna happen. What do you mean? Come on.
We can't have that.
We can't have that. Why would we do that? And it's like, no, it's because we have that mindset of this, why are we gonna do that? That's never gonna happen. But
we want the drama. We want the drama. Where's the story? Where are we going with this? Come on.
I mean, look at it. Look how we're so in not we us, but we the community. You know, the people out there. It's like, oh, well, Kim Kardashian did this thing, and you know, and it's everybody's like, oh my gosh, Kim Kardashian did that. Oh my gosh, Kanye did that. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. What? It's like. Who cares?
I've been recognizing it is that hierarchy kind of neurons that have been set into our brain frequencies, and you know, we do have the power to shift that and kind of change that. We can still, you know, observe it and be like, oh, okay, that happened, but you know, like, what do we do with that? We can really work on that, you know.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm not saying that to be blind to the world, you know, but it's the fact that people let that energy into them. You know, I said it, right? Not only what we eat, but also what we see and what we listen to is very, very important for ourselves, for our own beings, you know, mentally, you know, the psychological mind fuck that we've all been through, that we all go through, you know. I'm realizing, why the hell am I finding out about my heritage this was at 26? I'm 33 now. So at 26 years old, I'm just finding out, like, oh, I'm indigenous. Oh shit, this is why I act this way. This is why I say this. You know, a lot of Puerto Ricans, I'll tell you right now, a lot of Puerto Ricans have a lot of Taino words within their language. You know, Puerto Ricans will say un ching ching. Un ching. It's like, oh, just a little bit. Ching ching.
Ching ching.
It's actually, ching ching is actually a Taino word. And this is how important, and this is how deep I feel about my culture and my heritage as a Taino man. Canoe is a Taino word. Hamaca, hammock, is a Taino word. What we do on 4th of July when we barbecuah, that's a Taino, not only word, but an action and a development.
I feel like you could keep going, huh?
No,
like,
I could go on forever.
This is like, that's like a really cool. I mean, just like I have these like elves. They used to be cobblers that help make somebody make shoes or something. I don't know, but they help me with other things. And like, I think that would be an amazing educational Taino, like, kids book. Have like each page just like a different, like, canoe. You know, it's like beautiful picture. Boom. It's like, good. Have fun with that. Wow.
No, and that's the thing is, and if anybody wants any information, I have books. I even have, not me personally, but I have names of books and their authors, as well as children books that are speaking on this, because there is that resurgence again, started in the 70s, but now in 2020, when everything shut down, people started to really go through a deep think, and people started to really self-analyze.
Yeah, and that cream starts rising to the top.
And it's just people. So it was like, wait a second. Started digging in and started understanding. Oh shit, And then, like you said, they got a DNA test. Oh, they're 20% indigenous from the Caribbean islands, 25%, 30%. And then we have not only us going through that resurgence of Tainos, but we have the indigenous people from Mexico, from Central America, that Mexicans are a lot more indigenous to Americas, especially North America, than what we think. They're doing DNA tests and they're finding out they're 80%, 70%, some are like 90% North Native American, and it's like, wow, it's this colonizing wave that started. Well, it started in Europe. When they got rid of all the I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but the Celts, the indigenous people from Europe, before they started the kings and everything started taking over England and all the lands over there.
Like Druids.
The Druids, yeah, exactly.
That's like some of our beautiful modern name for it, right?
The Druids, especially the Druids. I mean, like I said, we're all indigenous from somewhere, but this colonizing mindset has swept the world, and we continue to see it in today's time. We're seeing it now. Not only, I know I mentioned Palestine earlier, but Hawaii. We forgot about Hawaii. Let's not forget, they're getting kicked out their homes because they can't pay for it. You have these families that have been there for hundreds or thousands of years, and because the economy or the government says, you can't afford that land no more. It's it's gentrification.
Yeah.
Puerto Rico's going through the gentrification right now. There are just a lot of Americans going into white Americans going into Puerto Rico and taking land, and I only specify white Americans is because if I would call right now and I would ask for land or any type of real estate in Puerto Rico, and they see that my last name is Castillo, right?
Right.
They would be like, oh, he's Spanish. He's probably from here. They wouldn't sell me it. They wouldn't sell me any real estate. But if you were to call and you ask for the real estate, they'll give you a whole list. And it's happened. Like, you can look throughout the internet, you can look anywhere, and it's happening. It's happening. So it's not to say, oh, that's a whole nother battle on its own.
Yeah.
But it's to say that this colonized mindset hasn't gone anywhere. It's embedded, like you said, it was embedded into us, embedded into our minds, embedded into our beings, and we need to break out of that.
Right. I love just bringing up that whole aspect of colonization in specific with Puerto Rico too. I've been working with permaculture for several decades, involved in teaching, sharing, learning the plants around us, to designing sustainable homesteads, all the different things like that. In the area where I lived and grew up, the Ohio River Valley, this is like all passive solar warmed greenhouse, and I get bananas. It's not a normal place to get bananas, right? But in the meantime, there's been I'd say the permaculture movement in America anyway has been predominantly connected with, more often, I would say, white suburban America. And from that has stemmed a lot of people traveling to South America or to Puerto Rico, because you can go there without a passport even. And being attracted to go to those places, set up like some kind of permaculture homestead, which sounds cool. I can, say I've had the thoughts cross my mind along on my journey, right? And feedback, though, that I've been hearing over years from people is that often those people are not connecting with the local indigenous communities or even the local existing communities so much in a way that is conducive in growing the local community, more of just like a little eco retreat extract and another safe place for wealthy suburban people to come and pop in and, you know, have their little magic thing and then get out without connecting to the community at all, you know. Maybe the ecosystem, which is nice, but, you know, there's a whole thing with that, you know, I guess I'm kind of even almost challenging it in the permaculture community as we're talking. So it's a growing thing to see that. And I have been to Puerto Rico. I know
it's a beautiful island.
I was there a couple years ago, and at the time, I'll tell you, the people there said there wasn't, a lot of the places I went communicating to people, they said there was no Taino people anymore. Mm-hmm. And that's what people on the island are still educated to think and communicate. So it's huge and important that people know what's really going on here, because there's people that are going to be educated to that still today and think that it's okay and ethical to go there. Be like, hey, there is no indigenous people anymore. Let's buy it. It's going to become a new state or something.
Yeah. And when you was in Puerto Rico, how many Taino commercial real estate places have you seen? I remember last time I was in Puerto Rico, I saw a Taino dealership. I saw a Taino bakery. I saw a Taino doctor's office. They love using
the name.
The name. They love using the name. But then they want to say, oh no, but the indigenous people, los indios ya murieron, the Indians died. And it's like, but you're using the name for what? To gain some money, you know, to attract people to come to you, and it kind of disgusts me a little bit, but I can't be completely mad. You know, I can't be completely mad because their education told them that the Indians died, that they're no longer there. But you have families, you have people, you have groups, you have tribes that are in Puerto Rico right now as we speak.
All over the world.
All over the world. You know, we have a Taino tribe. There's a Taino tribe that we're associated with, UCTP is associated with in St. Thomas, in Jamaica, in Cuba, in Dominican Republic, and in Puerto Rico. So, you know, and these people know, you know, exactly what you're talking about, because it's like, oh no, the Indians already died off. Like, you know, they're not, you know, there's nothing to worry about. Why even care about it? And it's like, how I had somebody tell me, oh, but why do you even care about the Tainos and like about the past? It was in the past. I said, but in order for us to move into the future, we gotta understand our past.
Right.
You know, that's why we're stuck.
Know where we come from, you know, so we can go through the cycles, but, you know, kind of spiral into new things. And there's a lot to that. Hey, I wanted to connect with you. Quick break. It says I got like 2 minutes left on the video recording. Do you think it'll really work that if we stop it and start it again?
I think it would. I hope
like,
it does.
It's not like per day or something.
Well, we'll find out. We'll find out. If anything, we'll get another recording. We can do another a part 2 tomorrow, if anything. Or sometime this week.
Yeah, we'll enter a song, and at this little break here, when it breaks off, I might hit it just to make sure it doesn't like air out or something. Yeah, you know, we'll but yeah, like I'm really excited. So how can people can they connect with UCTP and the American Indian movement to support it?
We have a Facebook page, American Indian Movement, Florida chapter. Join us on Facebook. That's where we post all our events, everything that we do for the community. Inside of Florida, outside of Florida will be on there. You can definitely hit me on Instagram.
Yeah, cakes and gains. Cakes and gains. We're getting this thing down with the sound system. The edit elves are at it again. Things are going flowing good. Flowing good. You know, we're just doing it like we should, doing the best we could, and growing and growing. Yeah. So check out this little quick poem, and then we'll cut right back in.
All right, everybody, let's get together here and take another little look. Is it the plank pose or an upward dog like me? Ha ha ha. Time for more growth and to see the light shining. Stop war and hate, please. Time for more conflict, resolution. Jeez. May we have strength and creativity to form the solution, presentations to move the doubters. May we pass the infectious transmissions of hope to those stuck within the realms of doomsday shouters. Time for more festivals, celebrations, dancing, jamming, grooving, and healing. 'Cause they know that's better than war. 'Cause they know that's better than stealing, lying, cheating, which they only doing to themselves and their countless victims. They do it with every advertisement that is clicked on. So let's just sing. Let's just play. Let's work our asses off for the right reasons. Let's hold those who need to be held. And, well, we all do need that from time to time. Feed those who need food. Shelter those who need shelter. Let us know when we actually need food, when we actually need shelter. Every day. What? Fasting's cool. And grant us the skill and connection to provide and produce for us and for a surplus beyond ourselves. And may we always know how to go outside and fast and not need. To be thankful, grateful beyond this life and death. Gratitude, it resonates. This is the chance, the moment. Rise up.
But, you know, just so you know, we was talking about the new role of the warrior. And we'll cut into that with some developed thoughts right into it.
Recording stopped.
It's something funny.
What's up?
We didn't get any of that audio, so I just started it over.
No, you're good.
I had not hit the unpause over on clean feed.
Damn, you've changed.
I'm gonna cry. So yeah, welcome back, everybody.
Be a man, don't cry.
We're back here. We've been cutting it up for a bit, but we didn't hit record. But you know,
it's okay.
We were talking about how there's these new roles for us as men, the new role of men as warriors, and we were talking about how it's okay to cry. You know, there might be some things that it's not okay to cry about, but honestly, it's okay to cry for a moment. You know,
don't cry wolf.
But don't cry wolf. Don't cry wolf.
If the wolf is not there, don't cry wolf. You know, and back to that role as a warrior. You know, Guaribo, my Taino name, Guaribo, it means warrior, you know, and I chose that name to be a part of my name because I've been fighting.
Wakethefarmup.
I don't know if they want me to speak about the warrior.
Yeah.
It seems like
maybe they want you to speak about the deeper challenges of the new warrior today. I get it. I got some bobbins of mine that, you know, they might crawl out and need something anytime, you know. So
the new challenges today is just being a warrior itself. That's the new challenge today. Being a warrior itself today, you know. whether man or woman, sustaining your family, you know, you know, helping, guide your either your siblings or your children. In that sense, the new word today is outspoken poet, expression of music, fighting for the rights of natural beings, that we spoke on before. That in itself is what the new warrior is all about. It's not about fighting the next person with your fist. It's about fighting that next person with your knowledge and the truth, because like we spoke on it before, there's not a lot of truth that's being told, with the Tainos. And again, I wear this shirt. I don't know if you can see it. It says Ais, right? AIS.
Gotcha.
Ais. The Ais people were the first, not the first, excuse me, were one of the tribes that are original to Florida.
Okay.
But nobody speaks of them. Nobody knows of them. They just know of the Seminoles. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the Seminoles are not even from Florida. And the Seminoles are not even a tribe that started from the beginning before Florida. Seminoles were a whole bunch of tribes that came together. And that's why you have the Spanish Indian War. Down in Florida and Georgia and stuff, but
check it out. I live near the Great Miami River. It flows into the Ohio.
Oh well, yeah, that's that you have. Yeah, the first time I seen Miami, Ohio, I said that's not Miami. I lived in Michigan for a while, so I traveled through to Ohio. And stuff like that. I was like, oh, it's not. There's a Miami. You guys have your own Miami, Ohio college.
Yeah. Oxford.
Yeah. So
it's so confusing too. The town there is called Oxford. It's like, okay, so where are we?
Yeah. But it's if you look at America in general, we take things. America has taken things from other cultures and from other places to kind of make their own. Even with the names here that we have it throughout the Americas, they're like, that doesn't sound like a English word, but it's probably some Native American or some word from Europe that was used. To show and represent, but that's I think that's why I sit here and I express the things and express my knowledge, as a new warrior, so people can understand where a lot of things come from.
The AIS, I want to.
AIS, the AIS. And the AIS people were a tribe, were people that were indigenous to Florida. There was also. I only know the other one, but there's like 3 or 4. There's actually a few more different tribes, but the Timucua people. The Timucua people were relatives actually to the Taino, and especially in my research, I've seen that the Timucua people spoke a dialect of Arawak. They didn't speak exactly what Taino spoke, and let me just backtrack a little bit. The language that Taino speak is from it's an Arawak dialect. Arawaks are the indigenous people from Central South America, the Amazon forest, and pretty much those people travel through the Caribbean islands, and that's where you get Taino
and canoe.
Through the canoe, the canoa, through the canoe, and it's they traveled throughout those islands and went and started to inhabit those islands. I remember the Caribbean islands were one of the last places to be inhabited by people, and the Tainos were the Arawaks that migrated into the Caribbean islands, later known to be later today known as Taino, because I'm pretty sure somebody will be like, whoa, that's not the original name, and that's another.
Right.
We you know, as Tainos, we most of us understand that it is not the original name that they go by, but is the name that we take to represent the indigenous people that were there, and that's important too.
Makes
because,
sense.
Yeah.
I follow you. Feel that.
Yeah, and more that I go through, and more the work I do, and more the knowledge I start to embrace and take in, understand that a lot of the indigenous names, the native tribes that are here, those are not their original names either. Like for instance, the Miccosukee tribe down in Miami. That's a name that they inhabited, that they took when they first were started to become federally recognized when they separated from the Seminoles. But
Gotcha,
it is not their original name of their tribe, though. You understand?
Gotcha.
So
follow that. Yeah.
You understand? So it's people need to just learn and to be open-minded. That's pretty much where I'm kind of getting at. And that's not only with, you know, the non-indigenous people of America, but also with the indigenous people of America, and throughout the world. You know, we just need to sit down and be open-minded and listen to one another and understand that you know, kind of circle back to what we spoke in the beginning. You know, understand that we're all one.
Humanity, you know, the greater ecosystem, like and we're able to communicate and grow and share things we learn with each other in the real world, and books, and you know, from, you know, sharing with each other experiences, and
even with cultivations, with development of how farms were developed, and how agriculture kind of developed. I mean, if it wasn't for the natives, you know, the Europeans, the colonizers would have died.
Right.
You know, without that help, that knowledge from the natives that gave them to help cultivate the land, to help
heal wounds, like abrasions,
different medicines.
Yeah, the abrasions that you'd get from the salty air of sea, you know, for 3 months on a boat like those people were hanging out on. Man.
Yeah, and not only that, like like we spoke about it earlier, the barbacoa, the barbecuing. It's actually, barbacoa is more of an action. It's like barbecuing, like it's an action. It's
okay.
What the grill per se, the Tainos call it biocan, and that's technically the grill, right? So they'll put a fire out. They'll make a fire, dig a hole, put the fire, and then have this wooden kind of grill sit on top, and then you go ahead and you put the meat, whatever meat, you know, Tainos ate manatee, turtles, these they're kind of like rodent kind of guinea pigs. I can't remember the name for the life of me right now, which I should. But anyways, whatever's on the island, they ate.
I mean, I remember finding freshwater crab up in the mountains. Like, it's, for me, you know, it's like amazing to be by the salt water, but to be inland up in the mountains where you don't see the salt water, to be seeing crabs in the freshwater stream, that was just fascinating to me.
Yeah, and you know, with that, it's just, you know, understanding that we need to nourish and we need to protect this earth.
Yeah.
You know, through the waters, with the waters, with the land. I mean, you talk about the cultivation, and I said fermentation. Puerto Rico's suffering. The land in Puerto Rico is suffering tremendously, and you have indigenous folks and non-indigenous folks trying to get the land back to its fertilization with all the nutritions and everything that it needs so it can thrive and grow.
Build the soil.
Build the soil up, and that's what they're trying to do there in Puerto Rico. I don't know if you came across that when you were over there, but
Man, when I came across was like just beautiful abundance. I was there during mango season, and being a forager, food forest kind of guy, it's just like walking along sidewalks and communities, and there's just mangoes all over the ground. I learned real quick they get all over you, so you just pick a bunch up, you walk down to the beach, you get them all over your face, and then you jump in the water. It's like the water's perfect temperature.
It's amazing.
It was, the land there really treated me well and showed me a lot of amazing flavors that are growing there, like from these rose apples that grow by the waterfalls that have this apple-y kind of flavor, but there's this essence of rose water just naturally growing in this fruit. And I know there's so much more to learn. Like what are the stories of these plants? Like, when did they come to the islands? Like, some of them that I have gotten to be involved with, like the sea grapes that grow along the shorelines, and that's what, the name, I know them because that's just like a common name. I was told it's easy. It sticks in my like little brain because they're kind of grape-like, but they're different and they have their own stories.
You talking about canepas?
Possibly. We could look that up.
It's like you crack it open with and then you like kind of suck on the nut? Or
yeah, there's like clusters. They grow along the shores, and there'll be clusters of looking like grapes, and even into the fall they start to kind of look more raisiny. Like they grow all the way up through along the coast in Florida, like halfway I'd say up the coast.
Okay. Well, I'll take a no. It's not.
Yeah, we'll look it up. We'll look it up, and if we got a good connection, we'll put it in the footnotes. The plant name, that's a fun little plant pointer. But I know with the the time limit here on this recording, we'll sort that out. This is really cool to connect with you on this podcast platform, and excited to keep up with you, and encourage each other where we're going with things. And this conversation, I feel like there's more episodes that will be just you and I talking and catching up and expanding on these topics that we want to expand on. We'll bring in some amazing guests to talk with us.
Absolutely.
I hope that the Wakethefarmup Podsquad and all the people that have been involved in it and that listen to this show can find ways to help the American Indian movement and, help with re-educating ourselves and decolonizing our mind and hearing,
And that's where you can help at. It's educating yourself, and like you said, decolonizing your mind and the process and understanding the colonization that's happening all around us. Because I speak to my Taino brother, he's like, everything that we're going through, all the problems we have is because colonization.
Over and over.
And I can't help but say, yeah, you're right. From our mental health issues to our physical health issues, to our knowledge and to how we perceive life. Where people are stuck in this colonized mindset and not even know it subconsciously.
Right.
You spoke about the Puerto Ricans in Puerto Rico saying that all the Indians are dead. That's a colonized mindset. Not knowing that half of them over there are indigenous.
And I think the more I look at the moss and it recirculates the way my neurons are connecting, it's easier for me to unveil the layers of things. But I know it's like an ever-going quest beyond I can even imagine. And it's, I hope I can encourage and support others that are trying to decolonialize their mind with like a Hope Day prepper. I really like the, bringing in that Hope Day. Like, what can we do? Like, what is our new role as warriors? What is our, as people, as humans, as...
We could do a whole podcast about that.
That's the cakes and gains, it's like there's been aches and pains, the conflicts, the growth, they come together. I think cakes, it's cute, it rhymes with aches, but no
I mean,
no mistake, no mistake. It's like
Bars.
It's like the gains that come from the aches and pains, and how like we can eat the cake too. We can
Exactly.
Share the
You
cake.
either eat the cake or get the gains.
I mean, we could even cut the cake in half and share it with some people, and then share the other one with some people, and not even eat it, and somehow that turns into more gains, and that makes even more cakes, and we can do whatever we want.
Exactly, because it's like the cake is the knowledge, The cake is that forbidden fruit that you were told not to eat, and it's the knowledge that we continue to pass amongst ourselves and to our kids. And those gains are gonna go from us continuing our work, applying pressure on others to do their job and put their part in too.
Yeah, encouraging it, just by like getting into the flow and getting that flow flowing.
Yeah,
it's that,
be like water.
Yeah, a little fiery, a little airy, a little earthy. We're gonna bring these things together, and these things are already together. It's just like a little permaculture blitz too. Like 20-something years ago, people were questioning the word sustainability. Like the corporations are starting to use it now. Like, what are we trying to sustain? So over time, the permaculture community started adapting more into the words of regenerative and terms of like how we're acting as humans. And I don't see the corporations starting to totally use that word yet, but looking beyond, like what could be beyond that is symbiosis, designing our way of thinking and integration into the ecosystem beyond us being a steward of the land, which like I get, but being in a symbiotic relationship with it where it's stewarding us too.
Yeah, understanding you're one with everything. Not only you're a steward, but you're also that grass. You're also that rock. What you breathe out, the tree breathes in, and then what you breathe in is what the tree breathes out.
Yeah. Physically, all of it. Yeah. It's a beautiful dance. It's musical. Like, this conversation, I feel even right now, I can even feel the music already and coming in here right now, and it's been such a really incredible to stretch out, in new realms and Wakethefarmup to be able to get some video aspect in these conversations and the remote aspect of it. And I appreciate you coming in from down in Florida. We want to keep working on people understanding what's going on, down in Florida. I want us to people to look up what's going on with these waters going up and down, what's a wetland, what's not a wetland. There's a lot of these important things, and we're looking forward to Cuyo, Guaribo.
Cuyo, Guaribo, we out here, it's
Kastle, that man.
Chris Castle, it's American Indian Movement. Go check out the Facebook page, Florida chapter. Understand that we out here protecting not only the waters, but the people.
Senoko Kakona.
Senoko Kakuna, that's a Taino saying for abundant blessings. And abundant blessings to not only you, my elf friend, but to everybody else listening and watching in.
Thank you all.
Peace.
Peace.
Recording stopped.
Yeah, those edit elves come in to do so many amazing things, because you know what? We got some more to say here. So, here, hang tight, check it out. The boys are still chatting it up. You love it. Wakethefarmup. Look forward to more coming with your boy, Cuyo, Guaribo, Chris Castle. Wakethefarmup.
It's a lot, to take in. There's so much to learn and so much to to listen to, and breaking things down. I think it's the best way, and I believe we did that in that sense, and understanding that not only the farm life is life itself. It's life itself, and you touched on it before, before the video feed cut out. But in order for us to be sustainable, in order for us to be self-sufficient, we need to learn how to grow our own food. We need to learn how to mess with these different types of medicines when it comes to plants, and we lost all that knowledge. Like I said, we're all indigenous from somewhere, but the indigenous of the world knew or know how to utilize the land, how to utilize the animals around their environment, as well as those sacred plants, those medicines that were used to heal, and to help people, with the everyday life, and that's what we need to get back to, and that's, I guess that's what we're pushing towards. Yes, protecting the waters is something that a lot of people doing as the American Indian movement aim. We're here fighting for Indian burial mounds, down in Brickell, Miami, that they're trying to build on. Even though after finding over thousands of artifacts, they just want to remove it and build something on top of it, to the waters that we have here in Orlando, that is the headwaters to the Everglades that they're trying to build on, which that's gonna bring some problem down the line. It's we can continue to dehumanize, not only colonialize, but people continue to dehumanize what we are and what we do and what's everything about, and everything is becoming this concrete jungle. I grew up in New York City.
Just this overlay of a different brain neuron connection to the earth. It's this overlay that just devoids any flow of the ecosystem, and it puts it all into computable, taxable, economicable situations that slowly degrade the autonomy and liberation of the human life.
Yeah, exactly. I could have not said it any better. That's exactly what it is, because we lose that sense of touch with nature. We lose, when we're in those concrete jungles, or when we're so caught up in the gossip of celebrities, or just the gossip of the world. We lose that connection of what people call God, what people call nature. We lose that connection, because God and nature is one and the same. I'll tell you right now.
It's the source flow.
It's everything is divine around us. So we need to be in that same frequency, in that same vibration as the plants, as the animals, as the sky, the water, and we're not, because we're living in this colonized world, that continues to take away our natural being, our natural essence. Man, we got to change that.
Yeah, let's go.
Let's get it.
Here we go. Changing it, waking the farm up into, an amazing, beautiful forest. And
Wake the Farm Up. January 2024.
The dad joke is, if a deaf person goes to a court, goes to court, is it still called a hearing?
Oh man, that's a good one to leave our ears with there. Yeah, awesome. Well, appreciate you. Much love, safe journeys, and thank you so much for your time, and look forward to connecting again soon.
Absolutely, you too, Andy. Peace. Sanako kakuna, people. Peace out.
Recording stopped.
Nah, really it did this time.